In today's video, I will explain my search for a mid-size car with a budget of between 5,000 to 8,000 euros. 8,000 euros is the maximum that I would like to spend on a mid-size car. I will show you the search results for buying a car with a budget of 8,000 euros. This is about $9,125 in US currency. In this video series we will look at 10-year-old cars, all mid-size cars from various brands, starting with European cars, Japanese cars and eventually American cars. The following variables are kept in mind while searching a capable mid-size car. You drive around 15,000 kilometers a year, which is less than 10,000 miles a year. You prefer to drive a gasoline engine. You want to have a safe car for you and yours. And the power of the engine must be between 150 and 170 horsepower. Of course, the more the better. I will even explain the technical state of the vehicles based on the research. In this first video, I will focus on European cars. Also, I will give you an overview of each model, every pro and every con of every individual car. If you have any questions about this video or the cars or in general, feel free to leave a comment below this video. This knowledge is based on months of research. Eventually I will buy a car from this class in the near future. So I thought, why not make a video of the things I learned along the way and share them with all of you out there. Let's start the search. When I think about shopping for a European car, then the following brands and types come to mind. The Volvo S60, the Volvo V70, starting from the models from the year 2000 upwards to 2007, the Volkswagen Passat, the B5 model with a 2-liter engine, the Mercedes C-Class W203 from around 2000-2001, the BMW 3 Series Touring, the E46. Let's start with the Volvo S60. The Volvo S60 came to light in early 2000. It's a 5-door sedan from the Swedish manufacturer Volvo. These cars are quite popular in Northern Europe. Build quality is outstanding and many cars have astronomical mileage. Famous are the 5-cylinder old-school Volvo engines. These engines are tough, but make sure they are well maintained. If not, you can encounter some surprises along the way. It is not a big deal to buy this particular model or engine with a mileage of 125,000 miles or more. That is 200,000 kilometers for European standards. The first generation S60 was built between 2000 and 2009, so there are still relatively fresh examples on sale today. Prices range between 2,000 euro and 18,000 euro if you want a nice car. But if you bring along around 7,000 euros, you can get home with a very nice example. Great features of these type of cars are the reliability of the engines and many safety features that Swedish cars are known for. This car is definitely worth a look if you drive a lot, or if you want a representative car that also needs to accommodate the family in the weekend. If you like the Volvo S60 but you want a little bit more space for you and yours, then look no further than the V70 from Volvo. The first edition was built between 1996 and 2000. These cars are still drive on our roads today. They are icons for Volvo and a true statement of the build quality and endurance of the Volvo brand. Of course, the design might be something that is not up to your liking, but to be honest, you get quite a lot of car for your money. Back in the days, these cars were the best in their class, apart from the German cars. If you're not a very dynamic driver and you want to travel in great comfort with enough space, then look no further than the V70. Prices begin at least 1,000 euros for a car that is from the 90s to early 2000 with lots of experience. And these prices go up to about 30,000 euros for a car that is 6 to 7 years old. And then of course we talk about the second generation of the V70 that came on the market in the early 2000s, the year 2000 to be exact. Assembly of the V70 took place in Sweden and Belgium. Furthermore, there was a factory that was located in Thailand. The V70 also has an R model on sale. This is the series with lots of performance, 296 horsepower to be exact. There was also a cross-country variant for sale. This Volvo was raised a little bit on its wheels, and next to that it was equipped with an all-wheel drive capability for little off-roading. So let's go from Sweden to Germany. Let's start with the oldest of the three, the B5 Volkswagen Passat. This car is still interesting, since it has the VW old school engines. No TSI, no TFSI, just the old school 1.6 and the 2-liter naturally aspirated engine. Also, these cars still occupy our roads today. But honestly, they are getting old. This Passat was introduced back in 1997. I suggest you go for the facelift model, since they look a little bit sharper and up to date. There is a whole variety of engines from petrol to diesel. All TDI engines, these are turbo diesel engines that are known for their high mileage. Also, the TDI was one of the best diesel engines around in the 90s. Still to this day, the TDI is around. But since then it underwent many adjustments to bring down the CO2 emissions and economy. The interior is quite black and has lots of plastics. If you go for the Highline models, you will find leather and wood. The Highline would be the pick of the range, since they look good from the exterior and the interior. Also, these cars have most gadgets like cruise control, all electronic windows and mirrors, heated seats, etc. If you look hard enough, you might even find a W8 Passat. These cars were only produced for a very short time, since nobody bought them. If you go for a W8, you better be good friends with your local garage, since the engine requires special treatment. The engine itself is quite complicated. If I say it correctly, the W8 engine consists out of two VR4 blocks coupled together by one crankshaft. Very nice hardware, but expensive to repair if something goes wrong. Just keep that in mind. Oh yeah, the power output of the engine was about 275 horsepower. Let's stay in Germany and let's go to Stuttgart. In the early 2000s, the Mercedes W203 hit the market to rival the BMW 3 Series. Mercedes is always known for its build quality and its outstanding drive. The build quality of this machine was not exactly what you expect from Mercedes. Many of these early models of the W203 suffer from rust. There are specific areas you should look out for when you buy a car like this. Of course, if you treat the chassis with tactile and you check every winter for rust in the usual places, then this car can still blow you away by what it has to offer for the price you pay in 2016. The W203 was manufactured between 2000 and 2006. In Germany, many of these cars are still for sale today. If you are lucky, then an old grandpa bought it and looked after it all these years. He might as well kept it in the garage out of the sun and the rain. No disrespect, German grandpas. Since it has gotten more affordable, now the younger generation also find its way to this W203. I suggest you buy a stock car instead of a car with spoilers and new LED lights, just to be sure. This W203 is a rear-wheel drive car. If this is your first rear-wheel drive car, then just be sure to make a test drive before buying it to experience the difference from a front-wheel drive car. The engine can also handle high mileage, but make sure that the previous owner did regular maintenance to this car. Otherwise you will be in for an unpleasant surprise. And by then you will be sure to drive a Mercedes, since the bill that you will receive will be quite shocking. Then again, the parts are cheap, but the labor in the garage is expensive. You can save yourself some money by doing some maintenance yourself and keep specialistic work for your local dealer. Now let's take a trip down south to Munich to look for a classic BMW. Here we take a look at the last contender, the E46 BMW 3 Series. This car is also getting older now, but it's probably one of the best documented cars around. You can find millions of pictures, videos and communities online. This car is still very popular, so you can still spend around 8,000 euros on a mint looking car from about 16 years old. The number one reason to buy a car like this is its sportiness. It's a rear-wheel drive car. It is aimed at the more sportive driver. This also means that the suspension is a little stiffer than, for instance, the Mercedes. Take this in mind when you do long journeys on the motorway. It might get irritating after a long journey, but it all depends on the driver and his and her preferences. The car is quite small, so if you want more space, then go for the Touring, which is the station car. Since these cars are getting older, there's much more that potentially could go wrong. For instance, electronics. The engines are quite reliable, but only when regular maintenance has been done to it. If you drive a diesel engine, be sure to check out what has been done to the swirl flaps. There are some horror stories you can find online. Sometimes these flaps break and are sucked into the engine, and when you're unlucky they end up in your turbo. This can result in a big engine damage, and sometimes your car will be totaled. You can have these flaps removed by a BMW garage, just to be sure. Sometimes a recall has been executed in the past. Be sure to check if your vehicle already has had a recall. A long list of engines is available for these E46 BMWs. Most iconic are the 6 inline engines from BMW. They offer good performance, but they like to drink fuel like a German drinks beer at the Oktoberfest. Also keep in mind that these powerful cars will eat up more tires than you would like. Good examples of these cars with low mileage are hard to find. High mileage should not be a big problem, but these cars need good maintenance. Always check the tires when you buy a car like this. It will tell you a lot about the driving style of the previous owner. Plus, BMWs have a very precise steering gear. If something is not aligned the correct way, you can tell by the way the tires are worn out. We come to the end of this video, where I talked about European cars. This list was based on my personal preferences. Maybe I should have thrown an Audi A4 in the mix. But since that car is also part of the VAG group, I rather look at Volkswagen, since much of the technique between the brands is the same. The Audi brand is just more premium. As always, like, comment and subscribe to our videos if you think they are useful and if this helps you to decide what type of car you should buy. Thanks for watching.